value or not. So what code change you have to do? My first person is ready to give like what, two values to this guy, and this guy has to find the sum of those two values or not hard coded values. Okay, the second person is going to, okay, while calling, you want to pass like his own values, then the time you have to find the sum of those two values or not, those two values or not. So how we can do it means, if you want to give something to my function to perform some operation, then how we can, by using arguments or parameters, we can pass the data to this particular function or not. So how we can, now this is my function. See, I'm clicking on up arrow and down arrow. See, the previous statement. Now here I want each and every person, okay, which I want to call this particular function is going to pass like two values. One is like first value number one, okay, the next one is like number two. Now I don't want to hard code this one, just remove this one, just place my number one, and here place my number two. That's it. Place my number two. Now anybody want to call this f1, how many arguments he has to pass? He has to pass like two arguments or not. Okay, think if I pass like f1 or like this, then the time is it gives me an error, is it gives me an error, or it is going to execute. Okay, in your Java or .NET, if you call one function, that function take exactly how many arguments, that many arguments you have to pass it. In my Java, overloading concept is there. Okay, but here in your JavaScript, there is no overloading, nothing. See here, my f1 take two arguments. If you not pass those two arguments also, what is the default value for my n1? Okay, it's a variable, right? What is the default value for this variable in JavaScript? Undefined. Here, what is the default value? Undefined. Undefined assigned to A, undefined assigned to B. Now my A value is like what? Undefined. My B value is like undefined. Undefined plus undefined is what? Nan, not a number. Not a number. If you want to check really, if I not pass anything, the values are like undefined or not. If you want to check, now I can debug our code. I can debug our code. Okay, how we can debug your JavaScript code means, okay, I already told to you. Why we go for source tab means, my source tab contains all your source code, as well as we are going to use this tab for debugging your code. Debugging your code. Okay, in your C F9 and F11, okay, line by line execution, okay, line into execution like this. Okay, each and every program language we can debug our code or not. Same like this, here also we can debug it. So if you want to debug the code, we have the keyword called as a debugger. So I want to keep our keyword like a debugger. Now can we call my F1? Can we call my F1? See, you are in which tab now? Console tab. Okay, you are calling which method? F1. So that my F1 body will execute or not. My F1 body will execute or not. My first statement of my F1 is what? Debugger is there. So that, okay, it can understand like, yes, I have to debug our code, so that I have to stop my execution there. So if I click on F1, see, my F1 executed, my console go to next tab, source tab. See here, highlighted. It move to my source tab or not. It move to source tab or not. Okay, inside the source tab, okay, your program, what you write, okay, what you written inside the console, that is placed into one file. That is placed into one file in which mode? Debugger mode or not. Now see here, this is your body, this is your browser. Okay, now come here. Okay. Okay, again you can do it. Inspect it. Go to my console. Can I get my previous code? So this is one of my previous code. See, I closed my tab also, still my code is there. Okay, can we call my F1? If I call my F1, it comes to my source tab or not? It comes to my source tab. Sometimes it got stuck. Then the time you can click on this one. See here, how we can say you are in the debugging mode or not? How we can say you are in the debugging mode or not means very simple thing. One is your control highlighted, okay, your control placed, your cursor pointing to source tab. That means it's like in the debugging mode. The next one is, see here, that body, the total elements tab. This is my body. The total body masked with some, okay, has some mask or not, masked with these two buttons or not. Okay, if it has some mask with these two buttons, then the time you can confirm like you are in the debugging mode. Okay, see here, passed in debugger. Okay, you are in the debugging mode. Okay, here if you want to go to the next line, okay, then you can use these two buttons. Okay, read these two buttons. See here, resume script execution. Resume script execution. The next one is, see, step over next function call. Step over next function call is nothing but it's like line by line execution, and in between any functions are there, my control go to that function. Control go to that function. It is like step over. Okay, one debugging to another debugging jump. We'll see that one later. Okay, see here, if you want line by line, this is the debugging point. Okay, this is the button, you can use it. So see here, I called my f1 without any arguments. Then that time, see here, within the source, my n1 value is like what? Undefined. You didn't pass anything. My n2 value is like what? Undefined. So see here, now you assigned my n1 to a. So see this, my a value. My a value is like undefined or not? My n1 undefined. My b value is like what? Undefined. N2 undefined. My console.log of a plus b is what now? My a plus b is like, okay, undefined plus undefined. If you want to check here itself, highlight these two. Okay, see, select these two by using your cursor, okay, by using your mouse. Just you can select it. See, put your cursor there. Now see, what is the result? NaN, not a number or not. Now my execution is complete. And my final result is like number, not a number. I'm going to pass like one value 10 now. Okay, see here, if you pass like one value, my n1 value is like what? Put the cursor 10. N2 value is like undefined. See here, here also you can find it. Now if you want the next line, third line debugging, okay, third line, if you want to go to the third line, click on this one, see, line by line execution. Okay, now my a value is like what? 10. My b value, you didn't pass anything, so that's still undefined. Now my a value is 10, my b value is like what? Undefined. Now a plus b is like what? 10 plus undefined. Again, it's not a number. Now if you come here, my execution completed or not? My execution completed. Now see, it go to the next level. Next level, all JavaScript functions also execute. Okay, now my console, if you observe, okay, once your statement's completed, simply you can click on this one, it will come out. Now go to my console, see, it's not a number or not. And then f1 10 comma 20, if you put it. Now see this, my n1 value is like 10, my n2 value is like 20. Now my a value 10, b value 20, my a plus b, you can select those two, put the cursor, a plus b is like 20 or not. Now once my execution is completed, console.log message, see here, my 10 plus 20 30 or not. After that, there is no statements out there to debug. Just click on this one, it come out. Yes or no? This is the way you can debug your code. Okay, now if you come here, this is the value. Okay, now you pass like 10. Okay, 100. Now see this, you pass like 100. Okay, only one value passed. One value passed. See here, my n2 value is like what? 200 or not? Okay, this is like a default argument. Default argument. For this argument, you assign the default value. You assign the default value. If you didn't pass the value for my n2, the default value will take care. Okay, now come here, my n2 assigned with what? My default value. My n1 you passed 100 plus 200. It's like 300 or not. See, I didn't check these remaining all statements. Okay, now I'm going to put like 100 comma 300. Now tell me, here my n1 value is like 100, my default value for n2 is like 200, but you assigned that value 300, so that my 200 override by 300. So my n1 value is like 10, n2 value is like 300, my a plus b is like what? Okay, n1 plus n2 300. Okay, n1 plus n2 is nothing but 100, 300, 400. Now I don't want to debug line by line. I don't want to debug line by line. Directly I want to jump into fifth line. So how we can means, for example, think total 100,000 statements are there. I want to jump first statement to 500 statement. Then the time how we can means, put the debugger where you want to jump. I want to jump to line number 5. So that click on the line number 5. Okay, this is all the way. Okay, this is also another way. Okay, to keep your debugger point. Okay, this is the keyword. Okay, you can keep your debugging. Okay, another one is like by highlighting that line number also. Okay, you can make that particular line as like a debugging point. Okay, you can make that one. Now here my second line has the debugger point, and my fifth line also has the debugger point. Here my second line has debugger keyword. My fifth line it's highlighted like this. Okay, it's also working like what debugger point. Here to here jump I want. Okay, line by line execution, this button. Okay, step over next function. Okay, step over next function is nothing but inside another function is there. It go to that function. Here, see this. It go to the debugger to debugger jump. Second to fifth directly come here or not. Fifth to come out. I don't want. Then the time you can come. See here, 400 or not. Okay, understand or not? How to create the functions in JavaScript. How to create the functions in JavaScript. Okay, come on. The next one. I have one function is there. F1. Okay, let's take two arguments. My console dot log of okay a plus b. I requirement, can anyone tell? My function name is like what? F1. My function name is like F1. Let's take how many arguments? Two arguments. Now my requirement is which type of data it can hold. Can anyone tell? What is the type of the data? Which type of arguments you want me to pass? The same function, if you see in Java, okay, if you want to write in Java or .NET, how you can write it? The same function, if you want to write in Java or .NET, how you can write it, or C. Okay, this is the way you can write it or not. F1 int a comma int b. After that, here you can like system.out.println. Here you can put like a plus b like this or not. This is your Java program. Now, at the time of calling my F1, exactly you have to pass what 10, 21. Why? Because exactly how to pass like a numbers only. Why? Because the argument type is like int here, the argument type is like int here. You should have to pass that same data only or not. Data type data only or not. Other than that, if you pass like string or something, then the time it is not hold the data, it's not able to hold it. It gives me type mismatching error. But in your JavaScript, there is no type, nothing is there, right? Then the type, which type of data you have to pass it, how you can conclude means you should not, okay, you are not able to tell like exactly which type of data in this particular case. Okay, because you not mentioned any type, but we can okay assume, we can say like by seeing, by using these particular variables in your body. How we are using these variables? A plus b. If you are using a plus b is nothing but 90%, okay, those are like numbers. A plus b is nothing but 90%, those are like numbers or not. Okay, otherwise it is a string plus string. Okay, sometimes we can concat also or not. Sometimes we can concat also or not. Okay, if you pass like numbers, if you pass like a string, if you pass like a function, anything you can pass it away because it's not a type strict. We can pass any type of data or not. For example, if I pass like number, okay, expected output, it's correct thing. Okay, if I pass like a string also, okay, Sachin Tendulkar, this also will work. Okay, if I pass like some array also, okay, see, there is no value, nothing. Okay, there is no error at least. Okay, if I pass like object also, yes. Okay, if you pass like boolean value also. Okay, 2 is nothing but 1, 1. 2 is like 1. So that 1, 1, 1 plus 1 is like 2. See here, there is no error, nothing. You're not getting any error. Any type of data it can hold or not. Why? Because my variable in JavaScript, it can hold any type of data. There is no type, nothing. So you have to, as a developer, you have to check how you are using this variable. Based on that usage, dynamically at the time of calling, you have to pass the data or not. A plus b is nothing but 90%. It's like a numbers. For example, if you see like this, if you say one function is this one, okay, one function is this one. If you see the usage of that variable is like this, can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? My f1 take one argument. What is the type of this argument? What is the type of this argument? I am using this a with this parenthesis is nothing but the parenthesis to whom you want me to use, okay, to whom you are going to use. If it is like a function, then only we can use it or not. Okay, this parenthesis we are going to use for what? Okay, any programming language, it is used for what? Function call only or not. So you are using this one is nothing but this should be what? Function. So my A should be what? Function. So my F1 take one function as an argument or not. One function as an argument or not. You have to check how you are using that particular variable. How you are using that particular variable. You have to check that one. You understand? Okay, remaining things we'll see in tomorrow's class. Okay, any other questions so far? Okay, we missed anyone missed like previous classes? Okay, I'll get that videos links. I will provide you. Okay, tomorrow by tomorrow I can get that videos. Day 1 to till today. Total how many classes completed? 6 classes, right? That 6 classes videos links I can place here. I will let you know by tomorrow. Okay, if anyone missed those classes, just you can go through that classes. React.js and .NET. Okay, I already told, right? .NET, it's like a server-side one. You can create your API calls and everything. Okay, you can connect with the database from your .NET. From your React, just you can send a request by using Ajax. Okay, whatever operations you want me to perform in your database, just you can perform it. See, the database operations are not there. For view, instead of ASPX pages, you should have to use like React. Okay, your .NET you should have to use for only API calls only. Okay, web API calls you can write it. Okay, web services calls or microservices, whatever you want you can put. Okay, view should be React. Okay, okay then. Server-side programming and scripting programming, no. My server-side technologies all are running within the server, not in the browser. Okay, my client-side technologies are going to run within the browser. Okay, scripting language, one of the scripting language, JavaScript is going to run in the browser, but my PHP is a server-side scripting language, and my Python is a server-side scripting language. Those also running in the server, not in the browser. Okay, that is depends, not like both are same. Whatever we can do with the server-side programming language like .NET is there. Whatever we can do, one of the server-side scripting programming languages Python is there. Yes, we can do with the Python. We can do with the PHP also. Okay, in the scripting, server-side technologies are there and client-side technologies, client-side also there. JavaScript is the client-side scripting. Okay, Python is there, PHP is the server-side one. Okay, then thanks guys, that's for joining.